What up, people? How's it going? Welcome to the ABitTooFar CryptoComic Podcast. Right now, we just got me today. That's all right. That's all right. I wanted to start today off by talking about something that happened at my job. I was standing at a desk, and a gentleman came up to me, very, kind older gentleman, probably about, 80s, 85 or so. And out of the blue, the first thing he says to me is, when can a female become a man? I'm like, and I'm thinking he's going political on this. I'm like, well, politically speaking, whenever she says that she's become a man, but, to me personally, he's like, no. A female can only become a man when she goes to college and becomes a freshman. And it took me by surprise. I'm like, whoa, a guy just randomly came up to me and tells me a joke. Me. Like the guy who hosts the ABitTooFar CryptoComic Podcast, where I tell jokes. But that guy wasn't done yet. He said, when else can a woman become a man? I'm like, I don't know. When? He's like, when she becomes a manager. And I'm like, okay, all right, we're working on puns here. All right, no problem. But then he kept on going. He's like, and this 80-year-old man, he frail and sweet, and I have to keep, my polite face on. I have to, I can't be too, exuberant about anything that makes me laugh or anything like that. I have to maintain professionalism. But then he goes on. He's like, when can a man become a dog? I'm like, and I'm obviously thinking, when he's like a horn dog, when he's, starts just chasing tail, A man becomes a dog when Snoop is his first name. And his wife becomes a dog too when she marries him. I'm like, okay, all right. This guy, I have to wonder what kind of life he's lived, just because I'm looking at his hands and he's got scars on his hands, and he's frail, but he continues on. I'm like, this is absolutely perfect for me. It might not be all that great for you guys listening right now, but there's more to this podcast than just these jokes. I'll tell you that. But I want to continue, all right? I wanted to put this out there before I forgot, because I think some of them would actually be, pretty cool to actually put in comic strip format, like little one-pagers or, one panels or two panels, So before I forget them, he asks me, how many inches are in a foot? I'm like, 12. He's like, it depends on how big your foot is. It's like, how many feet are in a yard? He's like, most people would think 3, but I don't know anybody that has 3 feet. I'm like, okay. He's like, here's another one. How many feet are in a yard? I'm like, I don't know. He's like, it depends on how many people are standing in your yard. That one had, as horrible as I'm saying that one, it was my favorite, because when you have a large party and you have a gathering at your house, people are in their backyard, you're having a barbecue, it's true. How many feet are in your yard? However many people are standing in it. I have a couple more, and then we'll move on. I wrote them down, but the handwriting's so scratchy I can barely find it. So I have to find it. Pardon me 1 second. I thought there were more. I guess there's just one more. All right, so this is the last one, since I can't find the other one. But he asks me, what's the difference between a plane and a baby? I'm like, You mean like an airplane? He's like, yeah, what's the difference between a plane and a baby? I'm like, I don't know. He's like, a plane goes from city to city. A baby goes from titty to titty. And I had to keep my composure. As corny as it was, I had to keep my composure because, that is a bit too far. I mean, here's an 85-year-old man. He just doesn't give a shit. He's just having a good time. He's enjoying himself. And he wants to share that with me. Me, a person who's decided to start doing comics, who started a podcast to get people to come on board, talk, shoot the shit, hang out, maybe tell jokes back and forth, maybe even, go on about, what's going on in our lives, what we're building, what we're, dreaming about, and, it just absolutely made my day. It was the best part of my day was when that man came up to me and started telling me these corny, silly little jokes. Because the rest of my night was a complete freaking, shit show. We had several calls that were quite, substantial. I can't go too into it, but I had to call over dispatch and let them know that I'd found individuals who were smoking marijuana, which isn't allowed where I work. It is California, but even though it's legal in this state, it's not legal where I work. I mean, we're not allowed. As much as it pains me to say that. So little warning, and there we go. But then there were the medical calls. A way to say it is, I had come across an individual whose blood pressure and pulse was so low. I mean, I'm trying to get this person to talk to me. Well, what's going on? The blood pressure and pulse was so low. When I actually tried to check her pulse, I couldn't feel it at all. And that's just the wrist. I mean, so, the fact that this person's still moving around means that there is a heartbeat, but, it was like, holy crap, I don't find a pulse in the wrist. This person's tanking. So that being said, call after call after call, so many different things going on. I was quite relieved when it was time for us to rotate, and I got to a desk position where I could work on my comics. I work graves, so working on my comics is a method that I use to stay awake. And I happen to, I have a couple of these, barely fleshed out that I got to work on, but there's a couple here that are almost complete that I need to upload into the computer so that I can go ahead and type up what I need to, because my handwriting wouldn't allow me to put in as much detail as I need to. I mean, it's not a whole lot, but I mean, when you're trying to compel a joke in a comic book format, using one or two panels, do you use two panels or three panels? Would it be funnier as a 3-panel with a second punch, or would it be funnier just with the single punch? And so, it's these things that help keep me awake, keep me going, but also, fleshing them out, drawing, it gives me, great joy to come up with these comics. It's stressful, but that's one of the reasons why I started, the podcast. It's why I have a really good friend at work who helps me come up with ideas. A lot of these comics that I have today that I'll be working on are actually from him. I think, having that feedback, that discord between two people, or even a group of people. I mean, I created a Discord account. That way, I can go back and forth with people. And, right now, I mean, it's a very quiet Discord. I share when I have updates. I share when, I have these podcasts going on. And, because of where I'm located here in California, everybody else that I know who's in my Discord is actually further east. And so they're already at work right now, and I'm just now getting home. And so, the fact that I have been blessed so far to have, 14 wonderful episodes, where people show up and hang out with me, and we shoot the shit, have fun, we talk back and forth about everything that's been going on. It's been an absolute blast. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. And, I knew there was going to be, days or times when, it was just going to be me. It's just going to be me today, unless somebody pops up and says hi. And you know what? That's all right. I do have other things to talk about. And so we're going to go ahead and get into that in a minute. I'm just getting an update on Messenger. All right. Okay, that's not for me. Good to go. So going back, I have been working on some Christmas comics. A little sneak peek for you guys is I have this one here. I take great pride in this one right here. You really can't see it, can you? Oh well, even though it's fuzzy as hell, you get the general gist of it. Okay, we got Ethereum wrapping lights around the tree. There's Bitcoin at the top, and there's little icon playing with the truck. All right. Should I just say Merry Christmas? Not make it funny? Just something sweet? Or should I actually put a little punch in there, saying that even Ethereum knows the reason for the season? Or even Ethereum knows that Bitcoin's the reason why it's around. Which is why the Bitcoin's the one that's on top of the tree. Just a little thought right there. No, I do have some really funny ones that I got coming on. Another holiday Christmas one, sort of, not quite. Bit more of a Western, but it's dealing with a turkey. The turkey is going to be featured on a wanted poster. Wanted for Christmas dinner, turkey sandwiches, and pot roast, and all these other different, things that I can come up with, for turkey. And you're just gonna have to wait and see the rest, but I think it's a slightly clever one. It's also thanks to my friend at work who came up with that idea. A lot of my ideas that I have are pretty good, but when I start running out of ideas, the feedback that I get from my friends and those who are supporting what I've been doing, what I've been trying to create, I greatly appreciate it. So thank you very much, everyone. All of your thoughts and your ideas and funny stories have been amazing. And so, that being said, today is Wednesday. Finally, I get a weekend. Today's my day off, which means I'm going to be drawing a lot of comics today. I have a lot of comics that I got to catch up on. I've been writing down ideas, doing rough sketches, but I need to actually flesh them out. I need to do, image research. That's one of the things that people don't talk about. When it comes to comics, it's very hard and difficult for me to draw things that I can't see. I'm more of a visual artist. If I see something, I can draw it. And that has been both a blessing and a curse in a way, because there are such types of art like, imaginary monsters or dinosaurs or whatnot. I don't see any of these things, so mine come out looking kind of, I keep using the word janky. Some people say they're all right, but, to me personally, drawing comics is actually very difficult. I've come up with a few comic book character design, sort of. Nothing's been, set in stone. Like eventually, like Gary Larson, the creator of The Far Side, when his comics first started out, they were rough and janky, and eventually he developed into his formula, his type of characters, just like Bill Watterson and Calvin and Hobbes, the earlier Calvin and Hobbes, they were nothing like, when he finally got into his groove and he figured out who Calvin was and how to draw Calvin, the best and most efficient and comical way, And so, I know that I'm still in the learning process, and it is a little bit frustrating, but you know what? It's also very fun to come up with these innovative ways to, create these characters, create these comics. And, I do reference, actual things. Like I have one for I have a comic that I have to draw for a dachshund, a Dutch hound, like a wiener dog. Okay. And so I tried drawing, a wiener dog without any reference, and it's not bad. It's not bad. But it's not what I was going for, and it could look so much better. I know this. So, for instance, here's a wiener dog next to a baby. Okay. I mean, it's not bad, but even the baby looks horrible in my eyes. So oftentimes I will find myself doing research and actually looking up images to come up with better designs. And I think that a lot of people don't realize that, comic artists do have to do that sometimes. And I can almost guarantee you that, for the first few, times that Bill Watterson drew a Tyrannosaurus Rex, he actually had to look it up, I can almost guarantee you he had to look it up. Gary Larson from The Far Side, his drawings were less caring about the accuracy of what he was drawing. And a part of me knows that, my competition is XKCD and stick figures, and, I'm drawing a blank right now, not enough coffee. I actually haven't had any of my coffee. I need to go ahead and drink some real quick. And I got a phone call. That's going to have to wait. They're going to have to leave a voicemail because this is more important. It's time with you guys. So, cheers. Oh, yeah. That was amazing. All right. So, for instance, although I am not doing, research on how to draw like kids typically, I typically have a fairly, stable formula when it comes to drawing kids. Like, for instance, girls, I always draw little girls as princesses. It doesn't matter what age. If it's a father-daughter moment or a mother-daughter moment, the little girl, no matter what age, gets in real life, for a story that I decide to make a comic, I always age them down to where I can put them in a tutu as a princess. I was talking with Crypto Mikhail on Discord, and he's like, you know what? It's true. I mean, what are daughters other than our little princesses? And so for me right now, my comics, all of the little girls are little princesses. The boys, I just put them in, pants and a t-shirt, or shorts and a t-shirt. I try to draw them as Calvin and Hobbes-ish as I can, because to me, that is the quintessential boy. That is the quintessential little boy is like Calvin, and I typically tend to draw them with the same hairstyle that I grew up, in the military with, medium reg, high and tied, whatever the heck, something, clean shaven in the back, and spiked up in the front. I'm finding I'm gravitating towards these types of characters. Girls are princesses, boys look kind of like Calvin. I need to come up with something a little bit more original. So maybe younger versions of my grown-up, shaved, spiky head, who knows? But I'm finding that, there are times when this endeavor is both stressful as well as rewarding. I have not even given this thing 90 days yet. Based on my website, I've only had the website open for a little more than a month. And so I have 2 more months to go on this 90-day journey to both, get into the creatives, hate it, detest it, keep on going, find out what drives me, find out what, I can do with it and keep on building. And then, continue on from there. I don't plan on quitting after 90 days. I really don't. I find too much joy in creating a comic that I find funny or just, meaningful. Like this Christmas comic right here. I could totally make this meaningful instead of funny. It could just be a well wish. I mean, the Happy Thanksgiving Bitcoin comic that I did, it was, it was meaningful in words, but the picture was funny because I put a banker on the platter with, Bitcoin holding a fork and a knife. That's okay. There are all different ways of doing things. Anyway, moving on. I will probably talk about this either Thursday or Friday, but I did want to say that I found some interesting articles regarding crypto or blockchain. I saw that, there was an article, a few articles, actually. I saw a post on Instagram when I was uploading stuff onto my ABitTooFar Instagram. And I happened to be scrolling through the news feed, and I happened to see that Samsung has decided to go into blockchain with 3 products or 3 projects, and somebody in the comment section, this has been, made false news, as of yesterday. I'm like, really? But Google it, and I see articles all stating that it's true. I don't see any articles or statements from Samsung saying that it's not true. So I'm actually genuinely excited that there will be maybe sometime in the near future, like maybe a Samsung Galaxy X10 or a Samsung Galaxy 15 or 20 or God knows what other kind of Samsung product there is. Because let's face it, Samsung is a Korean, product, Korean company. And, when it comes to countries that are pro-crypto, I mean, the population of Korea is pretty much more crypto positive than anybody else. All right. They are all about it. So for Samsung to not work with blockchain, I think would be foolish and unwise, as well as it would set them up for failure in the future. It would set them behind the competition. And so I think that, since Samsung can create great products, I think to roll out a blockchain phone to hold and store your crypto would be absolutely amazing. I think it would be phenomenal. Now, granted, lots of people lose their phones. For those that want to get into crypto, if you have I lose my phone problem all the time, I would suggest you do more than just 2-factor authentication. Okay. You need, fingerprint protection to unlock your phone. You need passcode, to unlock your phone, and you need a deadgum freaking pattern code to unlock your code. All right. Let them go through 3 layers of defense. Okay. Facial recognition, even. I don't care. I mean, when it comes to your crypto, if it's on your phone and you have to get a new phone because you lost the other one, you want your crypto to be recovered. So I don't think it's actually going to be stored on your phone directly, but onto an account that you have access with, like maybe apps or something. right? You could re-download the apps, log in, and boom, your crypto's there. All right. I didn't pull up the news articles, so I couldn't tell you what actually, maybe I could. Maybe on my phone. Let me see. I think I saved a picture of it. Capture. All right, that's about Cardano. That one. Come on. Nope. Okay, I guess I did not save a picture of it. Oh, I know what I did. I sent it to myself in a message. So let me go into Instagram real quick. Because this is the really, really cool part. I sent myself a message that I can go ahead and check that out. There we go. Samsung files crypto trademarks in EU for smartphones. Ooh, somebody came on the line. It's a mysterious shadow. Who might it be? Who knows?
Anyone. I don't know.
It could be. Uh-oh. It sounds familiar.
I don't know.
See you. I can't see you.
Sorry. There's light. Just not enough. Give me a sec.
Go on the other side of the table.
No. This side has the thing that I need.
Oh.
Just the dog stuff is in the way.
Oh, you have an outlet. I see you playing with the cords. It must be an outlet.
Yes.
All right.
Charge my computer as I do this.
Oh, outstanding. Well, I was just talking about how Samsung has filed a crypto trademarks in the European Union for smartphones. Samsung's filed applications for 3 blockchain-related trademark requests for smartphones. And based on the descriptions provided by the company, the 3 European trademark requests relate to providing crypto custody services on smartphones, which indicates that Samsung may be planning to make its entry into the blockchain smartphone market following the recent release of HTC's Exodus and Siren Labs Fini, both which offer crypto custody. So that was what I was just talking about before you jumped on.
I knew there was a reason I like Samsung.
Yes. I unfortunately currently have an LG. My first love, though, was Samsung. It really was.
Samsung will rule the world one day.
You know, if they keep up with this, the way of blockchain, I can guarantee you they will. Because, you know, as far as sales go, they've been outpacing HTC since forever. Okay, like Google can't hold a freaking torch to what Samsung's been doing. So if they roll out the products before Google does, then, you know, more power to them. You know, they're going to freaking kick ass. I haven't heard anything about Apple actually doing this stuff. I'm pretty sure that they are. It would be foolish of them not to. But I haven't heard it. Maybe I missed that DC TV update.
No, if you haven't heard about it, that just means they're not doing it.
Maybe.
Because they tend to be just like Samsung. If it's something they're doing, they'll let the world know. They want the world to know.
I think you're right. I mean, let's face it. When it comes to the new trending things, like everybody wants, you know, wallets on their phones so they can easily spend their crypto wherever they go. You know, QR codes, freaking, you know, buying it on your phone, or, you know, spending it on, you know, other apps that will eventually adopt crypto. I mean, why not? Adoption is happening regardless of the price action. That's the truth. You know, all these talking heads keep on saying that Bitcoin's, you know, and crypto's bad, you know, fake, you know, not real money. And the truth of the matter is, they're saying all this stuff, but the amount of companies and businesses and banks and governments that are accepting it, making laws regarding it, it is showing that this is real, it's not going away, and it's only a matter of time before, you know, mass adoption. So, you know, I mean, it's one of the reasons why I was so bullish on yen.io. You know, look at this thing. I mean, this is the XYO right here on the hat that my dad gave me. I mean, I got my dad into crypto. He only has one, but one equals 44 shares. Hey, fine by me. Way to go, Dad. Way to go. I really hope that it works because what these guys are doing is they're working on using smart contracts, which is basically a contract saying, hey, I'm purchasing this good right here. Okay. So, and these guys have drones that will actually deliver it to me, not to my address, but to my location based on a chip about the size of this eraser right here. Okay. And so when the drone delivers the package to me and the chip on the drone and the chip that I have recognize each other, then the contract is fulfilled, transfer of currency happens, and the drone goes about its merry way and my package is dropped off at my location. Which means that if I take a vacation in Florida, I don't have to change my address to have something delivered to me. Just freaking awesome when you think about it. So I think that, maybe they got a shot. I certainly hope they do. I've been watching their Twitter feed and their YouTube channel, and they're always posting something and updating somewhere. So I think that they will do a very good job. Anyway, enough about that. Let me ask you, when is your next podcast on your game, Dungeons and Dragons? It is Dungeons and Dragons, right?
Yeah, we're just called Opportunity Roll. That's our group name anyway.
That's right. So when is the next podcast, or did I miss it already?
No, that happens this Saturday.
Ooh.
At 5 p.m. Pacific my time. Since they're all Eastern, so it'll be 8 o'clock their time.
Yeah, that tends to be the running gag when it comes to anything happening in California, is that we are the last to start anything. And so everybody else is like so far ahead of us. It's like, oh, sorry, it's already too late. I'm at work,
Yeah.
Which, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. I mean, that is life. And it's been totally awesome having people show up, like yourself, to come in and share what's been going on. So.
Which is funny that you brought up my podcast, because I'm actually working on a drawing for that podcast.
Ooh, outstanding. Care to share with us what the subject matter is that you're drawing?
It's a Marvel / D&D put together, pretty much. So, like, what I have right now is, or what I had asked was all the characters, all the players anyway, to send me their character, what they look like, or at least a description, and who their favorite Marvel character was, which is very hard since the three of us all like Spider-Man. So I had to go around that one a couple times.
Lucky you, there's like many different iterations of Spider-Man. So you could do, Spider-Gwen, Spider-Stacy. You could, wait, that's the same one. That's Gwen Stacy. You got Spider-Gwen, Spider-Ham, Spider-Noir.
True, but it'd be kind of redundant to have 3 different Spider-Mans in 2 different pictures. Because one of the characters is split in half since he's the DM or Dungeon Master. So I have to I'm incorporating him into it, but I have to have someone different, if that makes sense, like a different character for each person. It can't just be different variations of the same character.
It's worked for Marvel.
I know, but for this, I don't want that. I wanted a difference to show how we all interact with each other.
Well, I think since you brought up Spider-Man, I think Into the Spider-Verse, that new one with Miles Morales, that's going to be a pretty kick-ass one. I can't wait to see that.
I got to get you the Spider-Man game for PlayStation.
Is it good?
It's very good, and they do bring in Miles Morales. They do bring him in.
Ooh.
They have a different variation of how he becomes Spider-Man.
Well, yeah, I mean, as far as anything being canonized, I mean, there's so many different versions of what the heck is going on. It's hard to keep straight. I mean, here's the premises of Spider-Man. His uncle dies. He gets bit. He becomes Spider-Man.
Yeah, but that's universal with him.
Done.
That's universal. Everyone else has a different variation of how it starts.
Like Batman.
Batman has the same beginning.
No matter which version of it is.
Exactly. The only difference is how he becomes Batman. Whether he goes away and does it, or in Gotham, he's a kid doing all this stuff to become Batman. It's the same BS, the same thing over and over. It's just different variations for different things.
Speaking of Batman, did you watch Gotham? Nope. But that makes two of us.
Yes. Oh wait, I've lied. I've seen some of it only because it was beginning and it looked interesting. And then I moved away and didn't have TV for a while, so I didn't care to watch it. And now that I'm back in the world of technology again, I still don't want to, so it's fine. Well, Batman's not my favorite, so.
Oh, that's blasphemy right there. No, I'm just kidding. I am a big Superman and Batman fan. Those were the only two comics I ever got growing up, Superman and Batman. And either way. But yeah, what you're saying is pretty much true, whether you were Bruce Wayne, Dick Grayson, or freaking, like the Batman Beyond character. Like, everybody's dad always freaking dies. Parents always die. That's how you become the Batman.
There's only one variation, and I'm guessing you know this because I think it was also a comic, was the variation where instead of his parents dying, it's Bruce that dies, his dad becomes Batman, and his mom becomes Joker.
Yes. Oh, his mom becomes Joker?
That's what I've heard.
I want to say that I remember that, but I never read it. So it could have been just like the hearsay stuff, It
might be, I don't know. I just know that I've heard
it. Makes sense, though. I do think I remember seeing something about it, but I've never followed Thomas Wayne, very much. I mean, the only time Thomas Wayne ever made any sense to me was in the animated Batman when Flash goes back in time and fucks everything up. And he loses his powers. And
that's the one I'm talking about then, because that's where I actually saw it.
Yeah, I think that was
that's the only variation that I know of that his mom is Joker.
Yeah, an animated version, so.
It was canon.
It was canonized?
I think so.
Okay.
That's why it's part of the series anyway.
Well, there's so many different stories out there. It's hard to keep track of everything. I'm surprised that there are actually comic book fans. Well, actually, I can't say I'm surprised that there are comic book fans out there that have nothing better to do than to read comics. People have made their careers out of reading comics. Look at Emergency Awesome, one of my absolute favorite YouTube channels. If you haven't seen his stuff, I highly recommend it because he covers pretty much anything that's DC, Marvel, even, Dragon Ball.
I think you were watching him when you fell asleep that one night.
Oh, probably.
Just saying.
For those of you that don't know, that's Wolfie down there, my niece. But that's the truth. My work schedule has made me completely exhausted, and I'll try to watch a video for like what few minutes that I have, and I won't even get the chance to finish it because I just knock the hell out.
He'll fall asleep in 5 minutes.
I can fall asleep in less.
No, dude, like 5 minutes in, you're like, I'm like, all right, he's passed out.
Was it Emergency Awesome that I was watching when we were waiting for
Destiny?
That was it?
Mm-hmm.
Which one was I listening to? Do you remember?
You went from the new Captain Marvel, and that's when you fell asleep. And then it went on to Flash in the 100th episode, I'm guessing, or the one where him and Oliver pretty much flip-flop, and they were going to have their special.
Yeah.
And then Supergirl was in it as well. And it kept going back to that for some weird reason. It went there a couple times. And then it went to a different guy talking about Captain Marvel. Yeah, it was really weird.
Well, that's because on my phone I have the auto play set. So, after a certain amount of time, YouTube will play the next video. But also, one thing that I would absolutely love to learn how to do is to create that, that 2-panel, it's like, hey, if you want to see, previous episode, watch this. If you want to see this, watch that, I think that would be absolutely fun to learn. It would be. It absolutely would be. It's like, hey, if you want to hear jokes from, a story from a cop, click this one. If you want to see the podcast or the episode that got the podcast started, watch this one, or whatever, But, I mean, I believe this will actually be the first video that actually ends up on the ABitTooFar YouTube channel. All of the other ones have been on my personal profile. And so this will actually be the first episode that ends up on the new channel. So, yay! People get to see me talk to myself for like 20 minutes.
I mean, we all got to start somewhere.
We do. I mean, until I come up with a running formula that is absolutely, a hit, a smash hit, I've got to flounder around for a while. And that's the reality of it, is when it comes to content creation, is that, you got to start somewhere. You got to start somewhere, and it's never going to be the way you thought it was going to be when you first started. It's always going to be more difficult because you have so many different skills and, things to learn and develop. So
that sounded like me trying to draw this picture out, and no joke, that's life.
It is life. That is how you learn to walk as a kid. That is how you learn to freaking ride a bike.
It might scare you if you saw some of my pictures from high school. They were not stick figures. They were just creepy drawings of people that I didn't know how to do.
Hey, you know what?
And now I'm drawing people and trying to make Doctor Strange with someone else's hairstyle and whatnot. This will be fun.
Oh, I'm sure it is. I can't wait to see it. Speaking of art, you actually have the desire to create a blog. You tell us about what your goal is with that?
My goal is to make an art blog that's totally different from all art blogs. It'll have the same aspects with you can post your art, sell it, yada yada, do all that fun stuff. You can teach them how to draw. You can do the how to draw and have those pictures. Don't care. My blog is also going to have the incorporation of talking about each aspect for art. So rather than just visual art like drawings, paintings, all that fun stuff, I'm also going to go into quilting, cosplay, movies, theater itself, music, stuff like that. Like, try and get people interested in all arts, no matter what type of art you're into. Poetry, writing a story. If you really think about it, everything comes from art. The beginning of everything is art. My idea is to incorporate that back into everyone's lives and make them understand that art's not bad. It's in everything we see. Everything we do is pretty much an art.
I like it. A surgeon working on a brain.
Gotta follow art pictures, man. You gotta follow those pictures to understand what the heck you're doing, because I sure as heck won't. I'll look at that and be like, the words make no sense, the picture makes no sense. You have fun with that.
Well, it's kind of like, like I said, a brain surgeon, all right? After a while of doing it enough times, he can do it so well and efficiently, it becomes a work of art. A cook, he gets his groove going on, and watching him becomes a work of art. I mean, Japanese restaurants are really famous for doing this, like live shows, like live cooking right there in front of you, and they make an art out of it. A mechanic that can actually, just look and listen and know exactly what it is and then fix it, that's art. Every skill, when it comes down to it, when it reaches a certain degree of skill, it becomes an art. Doesn't matter. Building houses can become an art. Houses look beautiful when they're completely finished and done the right way.
To even start the building, you have to draw it out first, so blueprint.
Yep.
It's art.
It's art. Everything is art. So, hey, I think that's a phenomenal idea. I would love to see your blog get started and see where you go with it. What format do you plan on doing with it? Like just a regular blog, or like creating something that is more interactive than just posts? We're not there yet. Okay.
It's a very good question. The answer would have to be kind of more interactive, because that's the point, is to get everyone to understand what it's about. So, like, let's say someone who doesn't realize that art is everywhere and anywhere, and they want to get interested, and they like someone who is artistic, who understands the terms, and they don't, but they want to. That's what this blog is for, is to get them into the conversation, to interact with someone who is or isn't or whatever, just so they have something else to talk about. Because you can sit there and say, oh my gosh, this movie is great. And then someone else can be like, no, this movie is this, and they have like these terms and they're not going to understand it because they just think the movie's great. They're not going to care about all the technical reasons and this and that. But I'm hoping that blog will help.
Outstanding. Outstanding. Now, I've got a question for you. You have been around me for a few weeks now, and you get to hear.
I'm crazy?
You were crazy before that, but I think it might be genetic. Oh, wait.
Yes.
No, yeah.
Yes.
I'm just looking at my kids.
Have you met your kids? Your daughter seems to think I am the 5th weirdest person in this family.
Hold on. I have kids?
Mm-hmm. They're sure as hell ain't mine. They're a little too dark to be mine.
That's all right.
Yes. So I got busy really early in life. Oh, God.
Oh, God. Please stop.
No one who brought this up.
Oh, boy. Okay, anyway. So, I have been, doing my crypto comics and whatnot, talking blockchain, talking yen, and all this different stuff. What do you think about crypto right now? I mean, your stage right now where you are personally, is it just an interesting concept, or is it something that you think you want to get into, or are you ready to take that leap, or do you think it's all hogwash? I mean, what are your thoughts?
I'm that person who's kind of like all of that together. Like, I want to. It sounds interesting, but I need to do more research before I just do so. So right now it's hogwash, but at the same time that it's interesting. If that makes sense.
It does. It does make sense.
I'm dying.
No, don't go. You're too young to die.
I'm 24. I can die. I'm fine. The world doesn't need me.
I wouldn't say that. Lord, you've been a godsend. It's like, oh my Lord! Like when it comes to my sleep deprivation, the sleep deprivation has dropped significantly. I mean, not exactly where it needs to be, but significantly. But that's life. That's adulting. That's parenthood.
That's just because I know just to be quiet. I've trained myself to walk around so quietly. I even put dishes away quietly, and those things are loud. I don't know if you remember Elaine, but Elaine, I used to go, like, spend the night, do dishes, whatever, and I would do it so quietly because I was just so used to making myself quiet. She was even like, she got up one night and she's like, are you even doing the dishes? I was like, yes. She's like, why are you so quiet? I grew up in a family of 6. You learn to be quiet sooner or later. Well, I'm quiet.
And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. It's been an absolute blessing.
Tell my family that. They seem to think I need to be louder.
That's because all Italians are loud.
Is a problem. Going after my heritage. I see how you are.
Come on. Big families are loud families.
That's true.
That was a horrible Italian accent. I'm not going to ever do that again.
Please don't. I made up a random one just for the heck of it. I was not even trying to go Italian.
Anyways. So, if you were to jump into crypto, what do you think would be your first coin?
The only one I know of is Bitcoin. I don't really know the other ones.
Then you don't need to know the other ones. Good on you, girl.
Because I do remember when Bitcoin became a thing and watching one of the YouTube channels I like watching for news. Because I don't watch regular media. They're retarded anyway, so man.
Yes, they are retarded.
Anyway, but I remember it coming out, and the guy I was watching was making jokes because he's a comedian, but I think he was saying, like, it's actually a good thing, get into it, and then after that, haven't heard much. So I never looked back into it because I was busy with other things at the time.
Was this that late night TV guy, the comedian who's talking about, Dan, the guy that everybody's tired of hearing about Bitcoin from?
Nope.
Not Hodl Gang?
No, he's from, his TV show is called Redacted Tonight.
Oh, okay. I've heard of Redacted Tonight. I've seen an episode or two.
It's pretty funny because if you go on YouTube, it says like, on Wikipedia, it says it's ran by or in cahoots with Russian spies and whatnot. It's really hilarious because how the guy starts his episodes is now, welcome to Redacted Tonight, the news channel or the comedian channel, whatever, that talks about American news in America is ran by Russian spies or ran by foreign agents or something like that. That's how he starts it off every time now since that came out.
Oh, did I saw on like my Google feed or whatnot? I accidentally hit the wrong button. My Google feed popped up. But did you? I don't think you heard. But Stormy Daniels, the judge ruled that she had to pay like $292,000 in court fees to Donald Trump for her allegations.
No. I have not heard, but then again, I have to watch the other news channel I watch on YouTube. I've got a couple on YouTube. There's the Young Turks and Redacted Tonight. Those are the main two.
I used to watch the Young Turks, but then I started to see too much of their liberal bias, and I was just getting fed up with it because I saw so much of it on Facebook, which is another turnoff. It's like, I'm a hardcore, I call myself a constitutionalist, okay? You can say libertarian, you can say Republican, I don't fucking care. You can say independent.
I'll just call you a weirdo.
Yeah, exactly. Go for it. I call myself a constitutionalist, all right? And even then, to have that much brainwashing and liberal bias just pushed in my face over and over and over again, I just got fucking tired of it. It's one of the reasons why I stopped going on Facebook. I mean, I only go on Facebook every once in a blue moon just to check and see who's got a birthday or, if there's been any cool posts by any of the guys that, that I actually follow, like Black Rifle Coffee. But, they mostly do YouTube and Instagram. So, fuck Facebook. That's how I feel. I mean, the only reason I'm really still doing Facebook is because, a lot of the business entrepreneur type stuff pretty much requires a Facebook page to show that you are a legitimate business or that you have you're not some scam or something. Which is sad that Facebook is the standard to show that you are a legitimate enterprise. It pisses me off, but that's the game you got to play if you want to be successful. So I have created the ABitTooFar page, and I think I might have one or two posts. Like I'm really horrible at posting on it. The only time I do make posts is when I remember to click the button on Instagram to not only post on Instagram, but also post on Facebook. And I keep forgetting to push that button because it keeps wanting me to log in and do some other shit the few times I do remember. And I'm just like, I don't have time. Like I'm on a 15-minute break here. I can't hear you.
Oopsies. I unclicked myself. Anyway, it really is just to it wants you to get it all connected. Because that's what Facebook does. It connects everyone and anything, and it's I just do. I go on Facebook just for the stupid stuff. If I find
Like,
something that's funny, then I'll share it with
oh,
someone.
what was the last funny thing that you saw on Facebook?
Oh. My friend actually sent me this one because I've seen it a couple times. But there's a little post where it goes like, you see that it's like, this is how you get your drunk friend into a car, and it shows like the little text version of a person with like parentheses, dots, or whatever, and then it has the emoji for a taco. He's like, "You want the taco?" And then the next one goes like this, like, "Okay, come over here. Now get in the car." And my friend was like, "This is so us." I'm like, "Yeah, it is."
So who's the one luring the other one in with a taco?
Me luring her in. It makes it even funnier that she's Hispanic, so she likes tacos. There might be a bite or two in that taco by the time she gets it, but even then, it's a taco. Can never say no to a taco.
You know what? I can say no to a fish taco. Anything
but you
else?
Still can't say no to a normal taco.
Yeah.
See, you're still not saying no to a taco. Doesn't matter what's on it. Proving my point.
If it's a soft taco, I'm all about it. You know, if it's a crunchy taco, it's all right. You know, but no. Speaking of tacos, we happened to catch, not last night, but the night before. Joe was watching that cooking competition, and the theme was, Mexican cuisine, and the judges all decided that the national food of Mexico was tacos.
Because tacos are amazing. Why do you think you have Taco Tuesdays?
So I have no idea what the name of the show was, but it totally reminded me of an anime that I like watching called Shokugeki, where it's cooking competitions. You know, Addicted to Curry is another cooking competition type manga and anime. And I think that those shows have helped me, increase my desire to cook more experimentally and broaden my horizons. And I think my kids absolutely love that fact, because now Daddy's not just, cooking their favorites. Daddy's, making a few things that they haven't had before. Like you've had the Russian goulash, right?
I think that's the only thing you've ever created that I actually like to eat. I get to taste anything else you make.
AKA, I suck at cooking.
I haven't seen you cook anything since I've been here, except
it's true.
Goulash.
It's true, because I not having the time and always trying to grind and everything. It's just like, oh my gosh, what I need to do is, next time, everybody's here. I want to make my Zuppa Toscana, that Olive Garden Zuppa Toscana that I can make. Because we went to Olive Garden for Ian's birthday, and that's what I ordered as my side dish, was the Italian potato soup with sausage. And, it was a nice reminder of the dish, but it lacked so much flavor. It's like Olive Garden was playing it safe. And I think they play it safe with all of their dishes because they're trying to appeal to a mass amount of people. So it's not as flavorful or vibrant as what it could be, like the way I cook it. And that's the other thing, is that, I would love to have more time to cook even more, bigger and better dishes, but let's get real here. The better cook in my family is Joanna.
To be fair, for Olive Garden and any restaurant, your family's food allergies, if they have any. Restaurants do not, so they have to serve to a basic palate, because without that basic palate, they don't know what you're allergic to. You can make something with peanut oil, and then someone eat it, and they're allergic to peanuts. They could be deathly allergic. They could be mildly allergic. Doesn't matter. They're still allergic, and they can get sued for that. So that's why they do that. They don't put enough flavor, as you say, because they don't want to over-season it and then have someone complain that they put something that they're allergic to then just have them sue them for $1 million, like some people with McDonald's. Yep.
Yeah, McDonald's and their freaking coffee. That was a freaking joke of a freaking lawsuit, if ever.
You haven't heard the other one then.
Oh, what's that one?
Someone had sued against, or two families had sued against McDonald's for making their kids fat.
Oh, it was totally McDonald's fault for driving them there and freaking, ordering the food.
Yep. That's why they have the calories things on there now, because that family won.
Of course.
Or those families won.
Of course. There's actually a website online where you can actually look up things that you could sue over.
Yeah.
You want to sue somebody? Go crazy. Freaking sue away. Is basically what the website's, telling you.
The person I would like, or the people I'd like to sue,
Education.
probably will, no, not education. Sadly, not them. They have not done me wrong yet.
They haven't done you wrong, but they're certainly screwing my kids' education. That's for damn sure.
They're irritating. There's that. But you cannot go wrong with the schools. You can go against the school districts, possibly the government on that, but no.
Easiest thing to do, or I shouldn't say easiest. Nothing's ever easy, but if you want your kids to have a better education,
get whatever her face is out of there now. Up in the
Lord.
Government, miss private only. Sorry, I don't like private. Private schools are retarded.
Or you can homeschool them. Homeschool them.
I know a family of possibly more than 12 right now who actually homeschool their kids. And last I knew, they had 13 kids.
Wow.
Because that was in high school. I don't know if she has any more since, because I don't care enough for the family since I'm not friends with them. Daniel is, though. My youngest brother is friends with them.
I know
one of them.
I know that Paul and I were homeschooled for a while. There was a year where our mom took us out of school and decided to homeschool us. I was in 3rd grade and he was in 4th. And it was that year that, because when you're outside of the public school system, you're not doing the end test scores. As in private school, you still have to do these end test scores to let the state know, how your education is going. And it was that year, after that year of, being homeschooled, that as a 3rd grader, I was scoring higher than seniors in high school on certain subjects, So when it comes to homeschool, if you have the means and the ability, homeschool your kids is what I personally believe that, more people should do, because your kids will have a better education because you're held to a higher standard to begin with, because the general public and the education system and the state and the government, they're very much against homeschooling. So they try to make it more difficult by saying, oh, well, you have to have these sorts of test scores. It's like, okay, then we will teach our kids. And you know what? They will be smarter than the kids that aren't held to those standards.
Is this when you were in North Carolina?
Yes.
That makes more sense then. So I was like, my dad never told me you guys got that. But then again, if it was in North Carolina, that makes more sense. Yeah, that
was actually before my mother got her teaching degree. I think it was actually that. It was that actually got her into wanting to become a teacher.
And then she came back to Hemet. Oh, Lord.
Well, to be fair, when she got her teaching degree and she started teaching in North Carolina, she saw that the public school teachers were making about $12,000 a year, and private school teachers were making $18,000 a year. But teachers in California who were starting their first year would make $35,000 a year.
The reason I say that is because high school was so much fun.
How so?
Not only was I principal's kid, because, my mother was principal.
Yes.
I got in trouble one day for stupid reasons. But anyway.
Ooh, what were these reasons?
You don't want to know those reasons. Anyway.
Especially not on a podcast. Okay, you can tell me later.
Yeah. Anyway, the assistant principal tried to scare me, and it was hilarious because I don't get scared very easily, especially by people who try to use my mother against me.
Okay.
And she literally went on a tangent, and I don't remember exactly what it was about, but all I remember was her saying, I know your mom, and I know your grandma, and in my head, I didn't say this out loud, but in my head, I had said, that's nice, do you want a cookie? Because I live with one, and I know the other one too. It's weird. It's almost like I'm related to them. So yeah. I'm a little smartass when I want to be, so thank you. Thank you, life.
Oh yes. We are definitely family.
What gave it away?
Smartass runs in the family.
Yes, it does. It's so great. Sometimes my sassiness gets me in trouble.
Yeah. I've had to curb quite a bit of my sassiness simply because, I don't have a life outside of work. Work, you have to be professional. Here at home, it's like, all right, a very limited amount of time that I got because I'm too busy fucking sleeping. So I don't fucking crash on the road while driving.
See, I laugh now because my job is staying at the house. So I get to be sassy anytime and every time. It's great. Forget everyone else. I get to be sassy anyway. I like it.
Oh, yes. So, what people do not know about the two of us is that both of us actually did join the military.
You had a better experience than I did. Anyway.
Would you care to share about your misfortune or what you would have done different, or, if you would have chosen a different branch, where you would have gone?
If I were smarter enough, I probably would have gone freaking Chair Force. Wouldn't have had to deal with all the BS the freaking Army gave me. But if I stayed Army, I should have gone at full active. Not National. Because National Guard was shit.
Yeah, I find that when it comes to anything reserve related, like reserves, Army, National Guard, Marine Corps, Navy, reserves, there's a big disconnect between what's real and what is expected. And, and then you also have a big disconnect between what a true shit show in the military is versus a shit show in the dadgum reserves. And, I find that those in the reserves who are used to the shit show of the reserves, they have a very rude awakening when they go active. Like half the bullshit that they do wouldn't pass. It wouldn't fly, So I know that when it came to your experience, I think the biggest shit show was a disconnect between the reserve units and the school that the reserves put you in, or something like that. Am I correct, or am I slightly off?
Well, I didn't go reserves, technically, because there's two different ones with the Army. There's Army Reserve, which is what Matt, my other brother, is in. And then there's National Guard, the one I went in. The difference is who pays who. So for National, you're paid by the state. For reserves, you're paid by feds. That was the only difference. We did the same things. We went out one weekend out of the month, or 1 weekend per month, and then 2 weeks out of the full year. Depending on whenever your unit decided to do that 2 weeks is up to your unit. Don't matter. Mine happened to be National Guard, and they play stupid games, and I never once got promoted in my 6 years or possible 5 years that I have been in there. So I was the lowest pay or lowest rank for those 5 to 6 years.
Yeah, that and the reason is fucking bullshit too. I will say that. Now, this is not us hating on the military. I mean,
No.
as you can tell, me being prior military, and then you plus two of your brothers also being military.
One. Ronald never joined. Ronald couldn't join.
I thought you said Matt and DJ.
No, DJ was DJ never went military. Ronald was gonna try and go Air Force, but he went out to Embry-Riddle in Arizona. And then they had their type of like officer training type thing. And he was gonna try that. He couldn't get in because he didn't pass his physical, because he's partly deaf in his right ear, or he's completely deaf in his right ear. They wouldn't pass him for it. We thought it was because of his head, because when he was 18 months old, he didn't create a soft spot, it created a point. So at 16 months old, he had to get that surgery or else he would have died. So now he has a scar zigzagging literally from ear to ear. We thought it would be from that. What we didn't know was that he couldn't hear out of his right ear. So when it happened, we're like, you can't hear out of your right ear? And he's like, no, I thought this was normal. And we're like, no, that's not. But thank you.
Yeah. So, but okay. Well, that being said, we're still a very pro-military family, no matter what side we're on. But we do have our shared experiences that, highlight some of the best as well as the worst of the military. But moving on.
I am all for military. I still support them. I just do not support the stupid games they play. That's the only thing I don't support.
Why do you think they play stupid games?
Because everyone's stupid and wants to play stupid games. Even I can do it. I know I do it, and I hate it. So trust me. That's why I hate it.
I will tell you one of the stupid games that I used to play. All right. It's not so much a stupid game as more of a, I'm going to teach you a damn lesson. All right. Every once in a while at the clinic, we'd have a Marine come in and he'd be like, Doc, it'd be a Monday morning. He'd be like, Doc, I went out this weekend and I had some fun and I forgot to use a condom. I'm like, you son of a bitch. It's like, so.
I don't want to know about sex, all right?
No, it's not about that. It's about what happened afterwards.
I don't need the birds and the bees, all right? My parents have told me enough. Parents don't need to tell me. Life is fine. I do not need that. Not on a podcast.
Well, see, what happens is, no. So a guy would come in and he wanted to get checked up. And so we got to go through the whole rigmarole, and at the end of it, we give him a shot, of an antibiotic. It would be Rocephin. And Rocephin is something that has to be reconstituted because it's a dry powder in a vial. So you have to, reconstitute it. That way you shake it up and then you can draw out for an injection. All right. Now, each time we would say, hey, from now on, you got to be safe, blah, 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 give him the whole freaking spiel. And then like the next Monday, he'd be back in. It was like, gotta do this whole rigmarole all over again. Freaking, punch for a sample test, freaking, then the Rocephin shot, and this is a shot in the ass, all right? Because it's it's like that much. Like, I can't hear you. You're unplugged again.
No, I unclicked. Anyway, peanut butter shot. Ew, no, thank you. Wait, I'm not take it. Yay. Like, oh, Yahoo, I'm allergic to penicillin.
Penicillin is a peanut butter shot. It is thick as fuck and it hurts like hell. But
I'm allergic.
This was not a peanut butter shot. It's not thick. It's just a lot of solution. It's a large injection. All right. That being said, it still kind of hurts a little bit. Okay. But anyway, after the third, the guy comes back a third Monday in a row. And it's like, dude, what the fuck? It's like, all right, man, look. And here's where the lesson comes in. Like, look, this is the third time coming back. Medication we're giving you, it's not good. It's not going to work like it used to. All right. We got to use something stronger. All right. So we do the whole rigmarole again, bore punch for a sample, make sure, everything's, doing all right. And then we have to reconstitute for the injection. All right. Now, it would be the same medication. It would still be Rocephin, and it would still be the same amount. But instead of using like normal saline, like a saltwater solution like for IVs, okay, we would instead use sterile water. And if you know anything about having sores on your hands or a scrape on your knee or whatnot, anytime you wash it with water, it stings like a bitch. Okay? And that's just normal water. Okay? Sterile water stings even more. And so it's like, all right, here it comes. And we had built up this whole thing of, this whole rigmarole of, because of this, the medication's not going to work as well, so we have to give you something stronger, and it's going to hurt, but we can't keep doing this because it's just going to get worse and worse, so we're going to give you a stronger medication every time after this, right? So sure enough, sterile water, shake it up, do the injection, and you could just hear them, yeah, like every fucking time. It's like they would yell. You could hear them in the entire fucking clinic. Everybody knew that somebody fucked up if they heard that particular type of yell. Anyways, we'd never see them back again. It's like they would learn their fucking lesson, because after every time we finished seeing them and giving their damn shot, we'd tell them to be safe. They would always learn their lesson because of how much that shot fucking stung. That is about, other than telling, them to drink water or they're going to get a silver bullet, and we show them, a freaking, something this thick for the silver bullet, all it really is a thermometer, but they don't know that. So we tell them this is the size of a silver bullet right here. That's going up your ass if you don't freaking drink water. Scare tactics to get people to do what they need to do, just to function and to freaking be smart. So that's about as much of the shenanigans or stupid games that we would play in the clinic.
Reminder, never go to you when I'm sick. Got it.
Are you kidding me? Nowadays, I couldn't pull that kind of shit off if I wanted to now. No.
See, now I'm more afraid you're just going to grab freaking needles that are that big, and I'm already terrified of needles, except for tattoo needles.
Yeah, well,
Needles don't hurt. They numb me. They're fine. Normal needles, they scare me because they hurt.
Well, if you ever need an IV, I'm still good at that.
Yeah, those things still hurt too.
It depends on who's doing it, actually. It really depends on who's doing it. Out of the hundreds of thousands of Marines that I had to do needle sticks for either blood draws or for IVs, I got to the point where, by running the lab at the clinic, I was in charge of doing all of these, the shots and the blood draws and the IVs. All right, so I got damn good at it. Like, even people that said that, oh, you can't get me, you got to use a butterfly. I'm like, hang on, let me check my options first, And I'd go ahead and do like the tourniquet right here and check the vein right there. And, they're like, oh, you're never going to get that. You got to use a butterfly on my hand over here. I'm like, calm down. I feel it right there. This will be fine. And I'll go ahead and get the 18 gauge needle and I'll just, clean it up and piece of cake, never miss. And the reason why people use this whole freaking, the vein rolled bullshit, like, the veins don't roll. All right. They move because you don't fucking anchor them. All right. If you don't have if you don't anchor the vein in place, top and bottom, so it doesn't move around, it'll roll. But if you anchor it, it never rolls, doesn't get out of the needle's way, and you will make the stick every single time. And so, I found the angle and the speed that made it so they didn't feel it.
I don't believe you.
And you know what? You don't have to. I don't have any IV needles to prove me right or prove you wrong, you know.
Every time someone would try and find my veins, they don't just stick it in once they do find in the vein if they say they do, because then all of a sudden they lose it and then they dig around and that's what hurts.
They start fanning, trying to find it.
And then it hurts, and that's why I don't like them, because it hurts.
Yeah. Fanning is a bitch.
And it doesn't matter how well they are, it will hurt every time until it's out of me.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you the truth about fanning. Fanning is a technique used by people who don't know how to give a fucking IV or take a blood draw. And they're just, you know, sticking blind. I mean, and I mean like truly blind. Like they don't know where the fuck to freaking stick the damn needle, you know. So when I watch these freaking doctors or nurses or freaking, you know, medics that are freaking, you know, hold on, you know, like, you know, I'm like, you fucking numbskull, you know. It really pisses me off that, you know, all of the medical training that I received in the military doesn't translate to anything in the civilian sector, because I would have been a great phlebotomist, but I can't challenge the board. You know, I had to go through schooling and all this stuff. I'm like, you know what? The better option for me is probably just go full nurse, because, you know, at least then I'll be able to utilize my scope of practice. I learned very quickly that my scope of practice was above an ER nurse in the military.
Well, of course it is. Just like my scope of practice with the military police is above the police. Why do you think the police is going more, militarized? Sure as hell.
You want the truth or what they're, you know, spouting to the public?
Their BS is that it's all because they need to protect themselves, because they are above us and the law, because fuck the world, right? No, the real reason is because they just don't like black people or anyone of minority except for white people. They only every now and then care to say that, oh, they accidentally shot a white person, because that makes it semi-fair. Not really.
I don't see how that's any excuse to have anti-tank freaking, you know, mine-proof vehicles.
Because they're big babies and they need to protect their little dicks. That's all it is. I will gladly say that, even on the podcast. You're welcome.
Well, I didn't know that MRAPs were needed by our freaking SWAT teams, because I didn't know there was such a rampant mine problem in the United States.
There's not.
Exactly my point. Why the fuck do they need these things?
Because they're scaredy little white assholes who don't understand. It doesn't matter the color of your fucking skin. Get over it. You're fine. That's why we have a drug war in the freaking beginning. Sorry, I don't like stupid people. People irritate me if you can't tell. I'm sorry.
Hey, you
Anyone
know what?
who's listening to this and they have kids around, I am so sorry.
Welcome to A Bit Too Far.
We don't have kids around then.
Yeah, it's not exactly a kid-friendly podcast.
Once again, there are stupid people. This is why we have people in charge, like our so-called president, who's Mr. Clown. Mr. Reality TV show somehow became president. I guess I don't need any background except for become that guy. Just become a clown, act like I know what I'm doing, and in reality not know what the heck I'm doing at all.
Well, personally, I think he's a lot better of a choice than Hillary ever was. Definitely better than freaking Bernie Sanders.
We will agree to disagree.
That's fine. Hold on. Why do you think Hillary would have been a better choice?
No. Hillary sucked. I would not have gone for her.
Oh, so you would have gone Bernie Sanders?
Hell yes.
Why?
Because he's not a clown, nor a fucking idiot who hides shit in his fucking emails. He barely even knows how to run an email, most likely. No offense to Bernie Sanders, but still.
Okay.
He intentionally had someone erase her emails.
No, I'm not laughing about her. I'm laughing about Bernie and him not being a clown.
Do not see the guy trying to run our country right now.
here's what I see, and the only reason I can say this is because I actually a couple tax returns ago I stumbled upon. I was looking for books by people who were financial advisors or investment advisors, real estate gurus, So, obviously, Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, he was a clear choice. Tony Robbins, excellent choice. Now, when it came to doing my research to find the books that I wanted for my self-study, I happened to stumble upon books that were written by Robert Kiyosaki and co-authored by Donald Trump. I'm like, what the fuck is this? What? Anyway, it was after listening to those audiobooks that I realized that there was more to Trump than what met the eye. For instance, all of the talking heads in the media that were saying that he was a fucking idiot and unqualified obviously didn't read a single one of his books. If their experience of him is reality TV and him doing WWE, freaking, SmackDown against Mr. whatever the fuck his name was, then
John
I can
Cena,
see
The Rock. Which one are we talking about?
No, it's not The Rock. It was like the guy that actually owned the WWE, or I want to say Mr. Fantastic or some stupid bullshit. I don't follow WWE, but I did see the clip of him, using it, like smashing on them, like they had their little competition, and whoever won the competition got to shave the other guy's head bald. And I mean, if your experience of watching Donald Trump is reality TV and watching that and just hearing what the pundits are saying about the art of the deal, then you're missing the point. For instance, the only reason he agreed to even do The Apprentice was if it had educational value. And I'm like, wait a minute, there's educational value in that thing? I thought it was just freaking reality bullshit. So I watched an episode or two, and I'm like, okay, all right, I could see the educational value in this, but it wasn't up my alley doing that kind of corporate freaking stuff. It's like I'm good. I don't need to watch anymore. But the title of the books that he co-authored with Robert Kiyosaki was The Midas Touch. As in, remember King Midas, anything he touched turned to gold. All right, so it was called The Midas Touch, and it was also, and the other book was called Why We Want You to Be Rich. And in those books, you actually got to, hear from the horse's mouth, what he, wants people to learn, how they can do it, and how they can improve themselves. And the truth of the matter is, the reason they even met was because they were on an educational, entrepreneur, I want to say it's the Learning Annex. I forgot what the fuck it's called. I have to listen to the book again. Anyway, basically, the largest education company for entrepreneurs, he was teaching people how to become entrepreneurs, teaching people how to better their lives, how to, get into business, how to do real estate, how to, build, empires, I mean, his educational background was basically on highlight when you did the research into everything that he was teaching and all the different platforms that he was teaching from. It's like, okay, look, learning all of this and doing the research about it totally changed my view on who he was. He wasn't just a clown. Yes, he did clown-like things. He did, say things completely free, of care of what anybody thought. He didn't give a fuck about what anybody thought. And I came to quickly realize that the talking heads clearly didn't do as much research as I did. They wouldn't be able to say the things that they were saying if they looked at The Midas Touch or Why We Want You to Be Rich. Just those two books. I'm not saying do all the research that I fucking did. All right. But those two books changed my opinion about him.
I think you should listen to some of his recent, they call them interviews, but they're really just ramblings. He cannot create a perfect sentence.
Oh,
I've heard one.
I've heard I've heard the interviews where he, is like I can't give a decent example because, they're perfectly highlighting his.
No, there's
ramblings.
there's one out that literally verbatim what he had said through that whole thing. It is literally him rambling, and then there's another one where, like, in his rallies, he says, "We give you clean coal." He honestly believes you take it out of the coal mine and wash it to make it clean. He even believes that one of the fighter jets, which is like the most, like, I don't know, it's a F something something something. But anyway, it's supposed to be stealthy-wise, right? It doesn't show up on radar.
Okay.
He honestly believes it goes invisible, like Wonder Woman's airship. It does not go completely invisible. He honestly believes it goes invisible. He's talked to Air Force flyers, people who also fly other jets and stuff, and asked them, "Hey, is this like, can you see it when you're fighting it?" And they're like, "No, you can't say." He's like, "No, I mean, like, can you see it next to you when you're trying to shoot at it?" He honestly believes it's invisible when they're right next to it. It's invisible to radar, but it's still visible to the naked eye. That is he honestly believes that ship or that plane is completely invisible.
I would love to see these. Because
on YouTube somewhere.
Although my opinion changed of him, I'm not. I don't have a rose-colored glasses about any of our presidents or any of our leadership. I know that they all have their flaws, and I know they have their stupid moments too, and I don't mind putting them on blast for it. However, the point that I was making was during the running and all the interviews and them calling him freaking, clown and whatnot,
Till he can differentiate that you don't actually clean coal when it comes out of the coal mine, I don't believe in him right now.
Well, unfortunately for me, I haven't had television for a while, so
I don't either. Watch us all on YouTube.
I've pretty much shut down a lot of the entertainment and freaking bullshit out of my life, and that includes following the politics and the freaking whatnot. Because I'm beyond it. I'm done. When it came to the election and Hillary was running, I'm like, oh hell no. And then I saw that Bernie was running, and I honestly was hoping that either Ted Cruz. No. Okay. In no particular order, Ted Cruz, Rand Paul, or Ben Carson. Those three were my favorite picks. All right. And as time was going on, you got to hear more and more about how they thought about certain things and what, It was clear to me that the one that was going to win was going to be Trump.
Sadly.
Well, unfortunately, for the rest of our former presidents, he's put when he put out his 100 days, like his first 100 days, he wants to accomplish these things. Like most of the things that he said that he wanted to accomplish, he did. He's set a standard that nobody else has done. Not to say that he's without fault. I know that the guy's not all perfect. I know he's not perfect. Like I said, I want to see these videos so I can be like, because let's face it, I don't like when it comes to the comics, nothing is sacred. I will totally use presidential freaking whatever the hell's for this shit. But I got to stay current in order to freaking make these jokes. If I don't have any current whatever the hell's, I'm pretty much just coming up with random whatevers that pop in that might be funny or might not be. So, to poke fun at the world leadership, that would be a whole new level for me. That would be awesome. I'd love that.
In the words of Peter from Decentralized, it's the boob tube. Go on.
Well, you have to show it to me.
Give me a sec.
Find it.
I'm literally finding this right now for you.
Find it. Oh, maybe we could. I have the share thing on. How long is the video? Do you know?
That's what I'm trying to find out. Because they do like they'll have like the full thing that I'm looking for.
Yeah.
But I'm just looking for that little section of where it's just about that. Because they'll do the full news for the hour.
Yeah.
And then they'll break it down per each little thing they talk about.
All right.
No, that's not
I will say, to his credit, though, when it came to the world leaders' reception of him when he was doing the world tour, the world leaders never gave anybody that kind of reception that they gave him. Like, freaking China rolled out the red carpet. Are you fucking kidding me? Really? All right.
I think they did that for Ronald Reagan or something. But they did it for other presidents.
Well, that was the last time they did it, I think. I mean, I'm not too, up to date on what the hell China's always doing. I mean, when I was going down the rabbit trails of everything that was happening in politics, we were still living in Hemet on Nathan. And that was 3 years ago. So for 3 years ago,
there it is,
and 5 years before that, 5 years, I was going deep into what the hell was going on everywhere. So you found it?
It did.
Okay. Well, do you know how to share on the Zoom meeting? Move your mouse down to the little red box, the green box.
Well, I know. I had to first put it up.
Oh, okay.
Because okay, so share.
Huh. There we go.
Okay. Good.
All right. Ooh, let's watch this.
This is by TYT.
Okay.
Your coffee thing is going off, by the way.
That means that the coffee has completely finished and the warmer is turning off.
Okay. I'm also very sorry if you heard Diesel bark, my dog, because he was sleeping and then he woke up barking to that because it was making coffee. So I'm very sorry.
All right. Go ahead and push play. You turn the volume up? All right, we're going to have to go ahead and push pause on this because I'm not hearing it. I think it might be that you got headphones in. Try taking the headphones out. Let's see if that changes anything. All right. All right, try pushing play now. Let's see if that changes it. If not, we'll just you could show it to me after the podcast, and we'll talk about it later.
Response to his war. He likes to blame things on the Federal Reserve for raising interest rates. Here's how he outlines that. I'm doing deals, and I'm not being accommodated by the Fed. They're making
better to start all over.
Donald Trump sat down with a reporter from the Washington Post and Philip Rucker for a 20-minute interview. And the Washington Post turned around and just printed a verbatim transcript, essentially, of what went down between the two of them. And we have choice excerpts for you right now. One of the issues that they covered was the Fed, because while Trump sees a lot of jobs disappear at places like Ford and GM as a response to his tariff war, he likes to blame things on the Federal Reserve for raising interest rates. Here's how he outlines that. I'm doing deals, and I'm not being accommodated by the Fed. They're making a mistake because I have a gut, and my gut tells me more sometimes than anybody else's brain can ever tell me.
Well, I just want to support Donald Trump for a second there, because his gut does tell him more than anyone else's brain can tell him. Right? He doesn't listen to anybody else, so that part is true. But you know,
Krang from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like a brain with a mouth in like a large robot, is being like, I'm a brain telling you things.
It reminds me of Total Recall.
Yeah,
turn off the reactor. That's what my gut's telling me. All right. Anyway, you remember when Albert Einstein said, "Oh, what's a brain good for anyway? Just go with my gut." Oh, right. No, he didn't say that. That's right. Okay.
Here he's talked specifically about Jay Powell, who runs the Fed. He says, so far, I'm not even a little bit happy with my selection of Jay, because he did choose Powell. not even a little bit. And I'm not blaming anybody, but I'm just telling you, I think that the Fed is way off base with what they're doing.
So, two things about this. One, he does what I do tongue-in-cheek, but seriously. Like I say on the show all the time, I'm not saying anything, I'm just saying, right? He literally said, I'm not blaming anybody. Goddamn Jay Powell, though. I'm not happy with him even a little bit. Not even a little bit. No, you just blamed him. What do you mean you're not blaming anybody? You just blamed him. Later, he went on to blame, of course, the Democrats and China for the economic downturn, while saying I'm not blaming anybody. Now, why is he blaming the Federal Reserve? See, he's overheating the economy because he's spending a ton of money and he did a giant tax cut, and the economy was already booming under Obama. So what the Fed is logically doing is raising interest rates a little bit so that we don't get runaway inflation. But when you raise interest rates a little bit, what it does is it increases the cost of borrowing, which slows down business a little bit, which is exactly what you want to do. Otherwise, you're going to get the inflation, right? But Trump, he doesn't listen to his own brain. He listens to, what is it, guy? Quato?
Quato from Total Recall, correct.
Yes, okay. So he's like, well, I don't like it. I don't like it even a little bit. Now, what's he doing over there at the Fed? He's doing something logical, even though you selected him, which is a minor miracle. Okay? What does he want to do?
Does this interview highlight the plane that you were talking about?
My rallies.
Does this interview highlight the plane you were talking about?
I think so. Scoot up to the next bit when they.
But we're not necessarily such believers. You look at our air and our water, and it's right now at a record clean.
Oh, okay. Well, he does have a high levels of intelligence.
So when you look at China, and you look at parts of Asia, and when you look at South America, and when you look at many other places in this world, including Russia, including just many other places, obviously ran out of countries he knows. The air is incredibly dirty. And when you're talking about an atmosphere, oceans are very small.
What? What is that?
He just called oceans small. That is the word for the largest bodies of water we have. Oceans. There we have tons of other names for bodies of water of various sizes. You got pond, you got lake, you got Great Lakes. You have oceans. There's nothing bigger than oceans, but he just said they're small.
I don't get it, because I do remember him saying during the hurricane in Puerto Rico is an island surrounded by big water, ocean water. So it's weird that he's backtracking now, and apparently ocean water is not big water. But to be fair to him, he's among the people that are highly intelligent.
He just flip-flopped on the size of oceans.
I mean, yeah.
He flip-flopped on whether oceans are large. Okay, there's more to that quote.
Thank God.
Yeah, no. He says, and it blows over and it sails over.
What?
So this is about the dirty air. It blows over and it sails over. I mean, we take thousands of tons of garbage off our beaches all the time that comes over from Asia. It just flows right down the Pacific. It flows. And we say, where does this come from? And it takes many people to start off with. Like, this gives me panic attacks.
That's our president. That's the most powerful man on earth. That's the commander-in-chief. He can't put together a sentence. I mean, normally we break it down, but how do you break down?
I'd like to actually hear
you look at our air and our
the
water.
full context of the entire interview. Like, I know that they even said we picked out the choice parts. You know, it's like, okay, so you're highlighting the most hilarious parts that you can pick apart. I'd like to actually see the full interview, because I know there's context that they're totally blowing over. So, yes, I understand that he doesn't always make sense to a lot of people, but when you look at the full context, it makes a little bit more sense. And that is the truth when it comes to the media. When they splice apart and edit things, they only give you the part that they want you to hear. And although, yeah, I mean, you're right. It doesn't paint him in a good picture at all. But does any mainstream news media do that? They don't. They don't ever give you the full interview, unedited. They always want to highlight something. So
I think they said in the beginning who it was by. My dumb nut forgot which one it was. I think it was either Global something or if it was.
Is there a link in the description to the original interview?
Yeah, Washington Post.
Okay, so read more here. All right, so all right, so save that, and I'll or copy the link and just send it to me.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
Copy.
I'm like, you're scrolling
5
down
seconds.
further and further.
5
What are you
seconds. I
doing?
forgot what I was doing.
All right, let's go ahead and go back to. There we go. Perfect.
I will figure this out. Don't worry.
Hey, you're newer to Zoom than I am, and it took me a minute to figure out how to do the screen share.
Oh,
but
what a page. Thank you. There. Grr. Anyway.
I will say this about the mainstream mainstream news media. They are professionals at putting forth the kind of information that they want to drive forward. Whether it's good news, bad news, or trash talking. I mean, how much news coverage was there saying that he had, colluded with Russia? I mean, we've had the FBI go into this bullshit so damn much, and now the former, head of the FBI, in front of Congress, he's saying, "I don't recall. I don't know. That's not within my recollection." All these different things that they're asking. You said this. Elaborate upon that. Like, I don't remember. Because I don't think he got paid off. I think he honestly was making the shit up because there has been no found collusion, but that's all any news media was saying. Young Turks was saying it. CNN was saying it. Communist News Network. Fox was saying it. NBC, ABC, CBS, they were all saying it. Now,
I think it rang true.
See what?
I think it was true because even his son brought out the emails. He showed those emails, like the dumb nut he is, but he showed them. Those showed that he.
But even those didn't prove that he had any collusion with Russia.
Yes, he did. It was just with a Russian person. Well, I can't remember if he was like a Russian spy or just a Russian. Anyway, the guy was part of like the Russian government. Like he was in cahoots with them. So they were already talking to him. He was talking to Russia. They were in cahoots. Anyway, I think his daughter also had some of those. If not, she's also very into trouble because she has been using her personal email with some other stuff recently, which she won't go to jail for because she's Trump. Why would she ever get in trouble? Anyway.
Nobody said they're perfect.
No, but it's really funny that they try. They are. And then that shows they are not. And then they backtrack. And then they go, I don't know what you're talking about. Or as Trump says, it's all fake news. Even though I said it, it's fake news. No, idiot. You just go back and forth. Anyway.
Well, it's clear we disagree about the effectiveness of our leadership.
Yes.
And you know what? That's perfectly fine. I fought for your right to disagree. You fought for your right to disagree. You fought for my right to disagree. Hey, it's okay. There is nothing wrong with that. Anyways, we have been on, I don't know how long I've been on. It's 11:05 now. When did I start this thing?
It's been about 2 hours and 5 minutes.
Really? No
Yes.
fucking way.
You started around 9.
Are you shitting me? Holy, you're right. I did start around 9.
You even said that on the thing that you were going to start at 9.
I did say that I was going to start at 9. I think I actually started at like 9:15.
Okay, so we're almost 2 hours in. Good job.
Yeah, almost at 2 hours. So
As I look for pictures of Iron Man. Yay.
hey, awesome. So while it's clear, to anybody viewing that I don't know what the fuck I'm saying, I have my opinions and whatnot, and I clearly don't have a a great grasp of what's current in the news because I don't fucking watch the news or have TV anymore.
It's all on BoobTube.
Well, even if it was on BoobTube, I'm too busy doing research on cryptocurrencies and stock markets and freaking, like, and trying to sleep enough. That way I don't fucking crash while I drive to work or drive home from work.
That's why it's on BoobTube, so you can watch it whenever.
Yeah, but the whenever is what I don't have time for because I'm also doing the podcast and the correspondence with DCTV as well as the comics and designing all these different all this shit. I'm too busy building to care about the fucking news anymore. When I had gone down the freaking rabbit trail of everything that was news related, any conspiracy theory, every freaking news media article, and I do the research into what was going on. It was an extreme time suck, and I was losing. It didn't improve my life any. I mean, if instead of going down the damn rabbit hole and researching all this freaking political bullshit and from the talking heads and the freaking political bias and agendas, and instead used my time to build something, I wouldn't be in the situation that I am now. I'd probably have a fairly successful entrepreneurial start on something, or I would have been building something for a while. I mean, who the fuck knows? Instead, I decided to do all this freaking research and all this freaking, finding out what was happening on every single news media, every single freaking, like mainstream and independent, as well as doing research on forums and whatnot, and freaking watching actual video footage of what was really happening from all these different sources, not just the freaking, pieced together clips that they wanted to show us. Like, it was fucking ridiculous. I lost so much. I mean, yes, it's important to be, knowledgeable about what's going on. But is it important enough to be so knowledgeable on what's going on that you don't improve your own life? That you don't improve where you are in life? I mean, the 9-to-5 grind is okay for a majority, but I wanted more. I'm like, you know what? This was an extreme time suck. I was getting further and further depressed looking at the fucking state of the world and what our country has become. I mean, it's gone to a shit show. I mean, even you could agree that our country's in a freaking shit box, when it comes to our freedoms and what's going on in our leadership. I can't hear you. Can't hear you.
Damn it. I keep forgetting I freaking do that. Anyway, we agree on something. This is going to be like your podcast, a bit too far. But andale, andale, andale. I need to pee. Andale, andale, andale.
I do too. Fuck it. That's it, folks. We're out.
Really?
The emergency bathroom break has taken over. We'll see you guys next time. Peace out.